Hi, Dav here, and today we have a new episode in the Art Review series, and today we'll be checking out the work of Viktor Titov. I think I briefly mentioned this artist in the last episode, reviewing the work of Andrew Marr, and because they both like doing fantasy for the most part, and they have a thing for like women, like they kind of like mixing like sort of that basically their women are not fully human. They're almost always mixed with something else. So that's the commonality I saw in their work. Now, Victor does have an art station as well. So if you want to see this, I will link both of these pages in the description below, both the art station and the Instagram. And I think I was first introduced to Victor with these kinds of sketches. Let me just zoom in here. It reminds me also a little bit of Eliza, right? Because the forms are very sort of smooth and organic. So, yeah. I do like this one. Might be my favorite one. And, yeah. So he can draw, obviously, traditionally, but I think based on these recent like sketches, I think he has been doing more digital work. Because obviously it's much more efficient, and you can immediately jump into like if you want to like color it or render it even more. Oh, he also sells his brushes here on the ArtStation, so you can check that out. And maybe he does sell it on the Gumroad as well. So yeah, I'm definitely fascinated by these types of artworks where it's sort of the feminine plus some kind of fantastical thing. Very intriguing looking designs. And yeah, I love the horn sort of stuff. This one's pretty cool. But let's look at his more recent work here because it is amazing. Look at those claws. And the rendering is just so freaking smooth. I do see a little bit of texture in the like the wings. I'm not sure if they're just using one brush, but yeah, maybe it's just one brush, but it has a bit of that noise texture there to add a bit of like slight teeth in their work. But for most of their work, I think it ends up becoming like it's pretty smooth for the most part. And the way they draw fire is pretty cool too. Look at this, it's so freaking painterly, and yeah, a lot of these are done in grayscale. Like these creatures remind me of the sort of zombies from the Last of Us series. I know it's based on a game or something, but basically there's this like fungi or something that has infected the human species. So I don't know, it kind of reminds me of those creatures, but yeah, I like the way Victor does his female figures. Very sort of gentle, very smooth, very demure, very modest looking, but there's almost always something crazy happening close to the head, like huge horns, wings, and stuff like that. Yeah, and the painting style, look at how it can go from like super smooth, for example, for this female character over here, very smooth, but it can go pretty like, not gritty, but more rough with like these creatures over here. The elbows look pretty too. And yeah. And I think this is a good example of how if you can master drawing stuff, painting stuff in grayscale, like you're pretty much, because it helps you focus more on values, right? So you can solve a lot of problems in this stage. So the coloring phase is kind of more of an add-on, but the fundamental sort of thing is already sort of there. So yeah, I think it's a good idea to just learn how to paint stuff directly in grayscale. Now this one, if you look at the back of the head, clearly there's teeth, but it reminds me of the Chainsaw Man, I think. The demon, the sword demon, or the katana demon, or devil. Yeah, that's it. Interesting contrast. The back is like a demon face, but the face is on the right hand side. It's more like human, clearly human. But yeah, I love that bit of texture in some of those edges. It really contrasts the other parts where it's a lot more smoother. Um, yeah, the balance here of the face between hard edges and soft edges. You have to be very sort of careful with this when you're drawing like soft, usually the face, because you don't want to overdo it. I mean, look at this. This one is way softer, right? Look at the face of this sort of animal girl, and then this sort of organic old guy with the bark, right? The tree, the branches, the vines. I guess his work looks very natural for some reason. Wow, first of all. Like the figures, it's just the proportions are just perfect for me. Very long necks. I do think he likes long necks in his work. Let's look at this guy. Can we see? Oh, look at that. He's pretty good with drawing human faces, human heads. Obviously hair. He just seems so organic. And it's cool because a lot of like whenever you show off your designs, especially if it's a humanoid figure, people will still generally look at the face first. So if you can just own that part and make sure that you can draw, attractive looking faces. It doesn't even have to be like a girl. It could be like this old guy, but it has to be rendered in a nice way. It basically has to look well done. If you can do that, you've pretty much solved. Is there more images here? Oh, we have a video, I think. Oh, no? Oh, okay. So it starts out like this. Sorry. Line sketch. Everything has been solved here for the most part, like 90% of the thing. Some base colors, and I'm guessing for the body, lots of soft brushes. They're almost applied like washes. So you see a lot more soft edges, and then they paint on top of that with a lot more. You still see some soft edges, but some hard edges to sort of solidify some of those forms, and then the final sort of paint over maybe. It reminds me of another artist we reviewed. Like he does a lot of splash art. I forgot his name. Let me just pause the video quickly because. Oh yeah, so I found the guy's name, Ming Chen Shen. I did an art review of Ming Chen Shen, and I think they have a similar approach where line work and then a bunch of soft brushes applied like a wash. It basically add in those base colors, and then you paint on top of that with more harder edged brushes to solidify those shapes or forms. But yeah, loving these. The lighting's pretty good. Very realistic. It looks great applied to these kinds of concepts. And I think he uses Photoshop for the painting. Or that's his main tool, right? Again, the human figure, the female figure, and usually in the top half, that's where the craziness happens, right? And it's kind of the bulk of his work. Damn, she's so pretty. I like the rendering of the face, and obviously the kind of mushroom head behind her. Like you can be so creative with this kind of stuff. So we have some figure drawing here, studies. Look at how the lighting was captured in this one. Damn. Even the way the hair was simplified, the underlighting of the chest area, pretty cool. And it's not just one value. Can we zoom in? We'll try zooming in. Like yeah, this is all gray, right? But there's like different levels to it. So you do see like gradients within that. So it really helps give you that realistic vibe. Basically, it doesn't look as flat. So whenever you have like let me just draw something here. Whenever you have like a part like this where it's in shadow, like within that, you want to have like this variety of gradients. Obviously, the environment, the lighting of the environment will affect those. But the point is, the more you have this range of like values in gradient form, it just gives it a very, very, very shit realistic look or vibe, and it's cool. And even though this is just one figure, one sketch, it looks so finished or well done. Same thing here. In this case, they're using more of a cooler set of grays or blues. And look at how it's not fully finished, meaning like you don't have to render everything. Like look at how most of the finished parts is the face, maybe this part and then this. Everything else is sort of left loose, right? Pretty cool. But here we have some designs. Even the face looks so well like sculpted at this view. Okay, so it starts out like this, very loose. If you look at the way they're doing their initial sketch, a very sort of gestural, figuring out like the main sort of like forms and shapes, kind of like Elisa. And then once they're done, then they invest or they double down on their designs and they just start painting away. Look at that. Again, they have this brush where the edges have that kind of noise. It does give it or give their work the natural vibe. Pretty cool. Oh, there you go. Height. Look at that. Same thing here. Oh, this one's so freaking intricate. Is there more? I do see some extra images. So this is the reference photo. So yeah, they do use references, obviously, but they're pretty good in sort of making it their own. I think we have more images here too. Oh, so it's not an exact copy, which I often fall into, but I think he's experienced enough to make something out of the any reference. So even if the position is not clear or not like exact, like you can just sort of wing it and fill in the gaps yourself. Same thing here. Is there reference? Oh, there's no reference. Anyway, the anatomy is great. And maybe that's why he's so good, or a lot of his figures look so realistic, because he does study or he does do a lot of figure painting, figure drawing. Going back here, he does paint them or render them. So it's not just line work. And if you force yourself to study this way, it's going to show up in your more creative work or when you start doing your own designs. Like you will learn to paint stuff realistically as well. And I think another artist to check out, aside from Andrew Moore, like especially when it comes to like painting, check out Anthony Jones. Although he does usually skip the face because he's more into creature designs. Whenever he does his female figures, he does like to, like it looks very, very realistic. And obviously he does reference photos. So he knows to, like he can sort of draw it on the fly basically because he has studied so much, right? Man, that nose looks so well sculpted. Like the planes with the face are very clear. And I like how some of the strokes sort of fade out. Maybe they're using some kind of mixer brush. Ooh, look at the rendering of the hair. That is so freaking nice. It reminds me of some of the color schemes of, or how Loish colors. She likes to like, she's very experimental with the kinds of colors she uses. Even in like simple figure drawing practices, she's very like playful with them. Wow. And again, the long necks, he does like long necks. And the faces, the heads, they're just lots of pointy features, I think. Um, We have some small cats, a wolf. Oh, here we have a little bit of a line work. It's very minimal, but it's there. But they still like to paint within those, so it still looks like really 3D because of the shadows. Obviously, it adds that form to it, so it's not really like a flat sort of drawing. Wow! First of all, damn, that waist is so freaking slim. Sorry, what the fuck was that? Excuse me. I think I need to drink something. Maybe my subconscious self was reacting or something. I don't know. Oh, here we have like perhaps a hunter, a huntress. Do we have more images here? Pretty cool design. Even the monster that's been slain. Oh shit. Another artist I would recommend would be Otto Schmidt. Um, the way he does, like for this character specifically, reminds me of the way Otto Schmidt draws his characters. Um, and the monster looks pretty good too. It looks like it belongs in the Resident Evil sort of world. A crab babe. Damn, she's hot. Crustacean. Right? Even these sorts of quick gesture drawings or paintings, they look so fluid, lively, and just kind of sensual in some way. If you want another artist who has this kind of sensuality in their work, check out my input Woe. Although he does go the thicker route, a lot of his women are heavier, not just muscle wise, but just they have a little more fat, which is not a bad thing, by the way. Anyway, let's focus. So here we have some more cartoon. Wait, those birds are so familiar. They remind me of a movie. Is it Monsters? Like they're on a wiring cable. Like there's a bunch of like short films or animations of. I think the birds were colored black or something, but anyway. So he does know how to cartoonize and cutify lots of concepts here. Is this a Kim Jong-gi tribute? Oh no, freaking way. Aw. I know the shark. This is one of the, there's like a woman it's inspecting like a shark guy. And that's one of the works of Kim Jong-gi. And I like how Titov, or Viktor Titov, drew it himself. Aw. It is kind of sad that he passed away, but RIP, RIP. You know, we have to continue the work, and yeah. So a cat stealing a sausage, fighting with the crows. And I like how they're very animated. Like they're moving. Oh, some kind of bat chick. Oh, look at those hands. Very interesting. This one has like fire powers or ghost powers. Very fluid. I love it. Very energetic. I mean, this one, she's kind of imbued with like organic life or plants. And I think that's the thing about his work. It looks so alive. Like he's always adding some kind of natural element into his work. Here we have some corals, some fish. Here we have some like dragons. And oh, come on, look at those curves. I mean, so this one's like a pilot maybe, or a mechanic dog. But here we have like a, I'm not sure what she is. even those skulls and the way he was able to illustrate the power or some kind of like flying, glowing thing around those skulls. Wow. Very good in painting values. We have like a vampire. It looks like a vampire. It reminds me of the vampires from Van Helsing, for those of you who've seen the movie. I really like their take on that. Because it's kind of boring to just have like teeth, vampires with like sharp teeth. But the vampires in Van Helsing, it's like a full body thing. Like they turn into a mix between a human and a bat. Very sort of sensual. Obviously, I was focusing more on the women, but kind of scary too. And again, painting values, no line work. The lighting is just great, and even the skulls. Ooh, look at this. Damn, he's even drawing skulls and heads aside from the main character in the middle, who's sort of carrying those heads. So maybe she's like a goddess or a spirit that collects heads as a hobby. And look at how as you go further back, the values get lighter. So most of the contrast is in her face and head design. Very hot. Jesus. You know what's so cool about art is you can just make a bunch of stuff and... Oh, it's based off of like, what is this? Some kind of ape thing or a bat? Not sure. But look at her, she's so attractive. Freaky. Oh my god. Oh my... You need to zoom in on this one because the top of her, like her face, is a freaking dragon. So maybe the lower part of this creature's jaw is like a humanoid. And obviously it's a female, so it's used to attract or bait men. That's how it captures its prey. Kind of like is it an anglerfish where it has like that light thing to attract prey? Or maybe this is this is Viktor Titov's take on a mermaid, or some kind of basically a creature that attracts men by leading them on. You're assuming it's some kind of a damsel in distress, but turns out it's a freaking monster. Very cool concept. And I like how you can just explore different ideas with, like, just leave the background as white and then just paint in grayscale one sort of concept. Like, you don't have to complete an entire series on it or project. Just do one concept and that's it. I forgot that name. It's like it's basically a whale with that kind of horn. It's somewhere in the Arctic or Antarctic. Fuck. And apparently it's supposed to have inspired the idea of the unicorn, maybe. And look at how as you go further down, the painting strokes are more apparent. But in the head, that's where most of the rendering is done. Right? You don't have to render everything. So, like, everything is concentrated in the most of the detailing is concentrated in the head and face. Polar bear that's buff. I mean, the anatomy is great too. You can learn so much from this artist. The anatomy, being creative with your subject matter, and obviously the painting / drawing approach. Cool. Everything here is just freaking cool. I mean, look at this bat guy. He looks buff too. I like the ornaments of human skulls. It shows you the scale that this guy is huge, right? Like he could basically swallow like a couple of human heads in one go. Oh, a tattooed chick. Oh, I do see a little bit of RGB shift effect. Always a good thing. Some figure drawing studies. I want to see. Right. And this is why his work is very realistic. You need to do a lot of these like realistic studies, figure drawing studies. And once you sort of get good at them, you can just be creative with the forms and just play around with them, play with the proportions. Damn, very kawaii. Ah, they look so good. Oh, he has like one reference here and then he has multiple ways of stylizing it. It's a great exercise to try out. Same thing here. In the right hand side, it is more like realistic, but as you go further left, it becomes more stylized. And look at those calves, they're so freaking thick. Freaking stompers. Damn. They're so cute. Kawaii. Oh, the lighting in this one, very dramatic. Wow. Oh, we have more traditional stuff here. But yeah, if you're into this kind of art, obviously you're gonna have to follow this guy. Damn, look at how many heads. And in different positions too. Jesus. Oh, some ink work here. I'm not sure what pen is that. Is that a brush pen? Looks like it. Ooh la la. Anyway, that's it for this art review of Viktor Titov. I will link this page and his ArtStation page as well. And yeah, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.